Hello, welcome back. One more video exposing Jaggi Vasudev, the great one and only mystic scientist Sadhguru. So, in this video, he's going to talk something that's totally utterly nonsense. But he's going to talk confidently as if it's true. And also he's going to make up a story and tell as if it happened. It could have happened, but the scientific part, that's impossible that could have happened. But he's going to say some story and to justify that it was science. And listen, and foremost, this was the speech he was giving sometime within the last few years in IIT Madras. Here, IIT Madras, it's one of the prestigious institutions in India. And they invited this guy. Most of the time, probably they are asking all this mumbo jumbo, self-help, spiritual, all those things. But they also think he's mystic scientist, all-known science mystic. So that's his brand too. So last 2 decades, he branded himself as he knows science, and he also knows this mysticism and also the spiritual, all those things. And he finally figured out science is nothing. It's already the only answer is in some mysticism. That mysticism he created. So that's his brand. And IIT invited him, and they asked him questions related to science. I'm like, why? You seriously believe this guy knows science? You never heard him talk about science before? I'm like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with the IIT. Probably they have some spiritual mumbo jumbo course or management, but still, see that there are a lot of people. You can ask any person, old person, wise person, anyone, any general question, a generic question like how do the society has to go and look at some specific problem. Anyone can answer, give their opinion. He's not particularly the smartest guy. He does is use scientific words and abuse science and terminology to promote his so-called mysticism. And so that's what I'm trying to disabuse, that he doesn't know any science, but he uses science to promote his fake scientific mysticism, yogic science, all those fake brands, and enrich himself. That's why who he is. Okay, let's get started. And again, if you're going to upset watching this video and write crappy comments, at least write what part of the science you're disagreeing, what part of the science that is factual, you think that's factual from this guy's talk, and say, just don't come and write same thing like he says, like this, it's all about the world. There's energy in the universe, there's energy in the molecule, there's energy in the atom, there's energy in the animal, so it's in the science. And like, don't just talk random words and trying to make a like scientific sentence out of those things. Like, okay, let's get started. What you got, Mr. Jaggi? What you got? Starting. Okay.
You said that water has some memory.
Yes.
Is there any viability to bring that memory level to our life or something? Is there any scientific evidence or spiritual evidence or some other evidences available for that? Basically, as I am a chemist, I am telling this.
Okay. Today, is it okay if I walk down into you? Today, particularly in the last 4.5 years, phenomenal amount of research has gone into water and its water potential. This started off inadvertently because of the way the usable water in the world is receding per person. In India, for example, in 1947, doesn't like me. In 1947, how much water an average Indian had, potable water? Today, we have only 20% of that. They say by 2025, we'll have only 7% of what we had in 1947 per person. Per capita water, only that much will be available. So because of this, lot of research has gone into water. It went mostly from this line, but slowly they went deeper and deeper into this, and they find, which you must be, being a chemist, you must be very much aware of this, without changing the chemical composition of the water, you can rearrange the molecular arrangement in such a way that the water will behave completely in a different way than the way it does. To such an extent, it's sensitive to this extent that if I take a glass of water in my hand and just look at it in a certain way and give it to you, well-being will come to you. If I look at it another way and give it to you, you will fall sick tonight. This is no more superstition, this is science. I'll tell you an incident that happened.
Sorry, I can't hold my laugh. It's no more superstition, it's science, and he knows it. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, you are working in a IIT and you're a chemist. I don't know if you're a chemical engineer or you're a actual chemist in laboratory or a chemistry professor, whoever you are, and you're asking what question? Does water has memory and has some viability, and asking him? Okay, so this whole water memory thing, it's not just him, this is the first time he's talking, so it's already been talked about in the traditional or non-scientific medicinal world, especially in homeopathy. So the water memory is just the phrase they use it, but it's not like something that has meaning. So basically what it is, say you have a COVID, you are attacked with a COVID virus. So what usually happens is the virus gets into your bloodstream or into your body. Then your immune cells like T cells, B cells, and macrophages, and then they go on mark these cells. So the way it marks is your immune cells produce called antibodies. So those antibodies first go on attack these viruses and mark them. Then the macrophages or other cells comes and basically eat up those viruses. And what some of those alternative medicine people trying to do was they took those antibodies and they put it in the water. I'm not talking about this COVID, but in general, so for any antibodies for any other diseases, and they put it in put the water antibodies in the water, and diluted to the level that there's almost like very minimal or no trace amount of this antibody present in the water. And now you drink the water or consume whatever you want. And they say the water going to cure you. So the idea is that water as a solvent, then you put some solute, and so solute has some property, but you don't need to consume that solution with the full concentration of solute. All you have to do is dilute it and remove it, and they say that the water still has the memory of those solutes, and that's what the water cures it, and you don't need to worry about the solute present in the water anymore. But the water has the memory of that solution. Then water acts as that the solute is still present in the water, and that's how they cure it. So that's the belief. So then they try. There are even some prominent scientists trying to test that theory, and some paper they even submitted it, but when they try to repeat the test, it never repeated. So eventually it's a bogus. It's not actually science. So this is not the first. Then they call, that's why they call water memory. So that's the phrase came, but he's not the first guy who talks about the water memory. So it's all over in that homeopathy medicine. Alternative medicinal field. So, but it's scientifically proven that it's not, nothing such thing as like water as memory, and he is giving an explanation that so water has some chemical composition. Like there's the only one composition, H2O, but if you're talking about a solutes, is it fresh water or seawater, or what type of water are you talking about? So, taken for granted that he's talking about fresh water. Okay, it's just a pure water, only H2O, no other solutes in it. And he's talking about if you rearrange in a certain way, like so, the water in ice form, solid form, it's locked and vibrated, so that's how it's less than 8 volts. But when it's in a water phase, liquid phase, water is in liquid phase, then all the water molecules start vibrating and moving around chaotically. But when it goes to the vapor phase, then it's even more chaotic. The total motion is between the molecule is very high. There's almost no bonding. But when water is in liquid form, there's hydrogen bonding between one water molecule and the other water molecule. So that's why the water is still cohesion. Okay, so there's no way you can rearrange the molecule. It's rearranged itself. Then that's why you have water is in that form, liquid form. What you are rearranging? Then he is saying, like, you're looking at the certain way, then water is fine. But if you looking at another certain way and thinking about it, the water does something. But something happens. There's nothing happens. It's still the same H2O. The water molecules are chaotically, randomly vibrating, moving, and you're not molecularly rearranging anything. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How do you're a chemist in IIT and listening to this and you couldn't laugh at it? Well, first of all, why do you ask this guy such a question and you're a chemist in IIT? Oh my God. And now he's going to tell a story that it actually happened. But there's no impossible that whatever his story he's going to conjure up and say that looking at the water, something happened to that water. But it's just a conjure up story. But let's listen what he has to say. Okay, what story you got?
About 17 years ago, I announced a 90-day program. 90-day program for what? The most fundamental aspect of yoga is considered as Bhuta Shuddhi. Bhuta Shuddhi means, Bhuta means you know what? Panchabhutas, the 5 elements in nature. Earth, water, fire, air and space. These are the 5 elements in nature. It is these 5 elements… I'm sorry, I'm somewhere… It is these 5 elements which is the basic components which make this body, which made this planet, which has made the whole universe, isn't it? The whole existence, in a way, is a play of these five elements. So Bhuta Shuddhi is about cleansing these five elements within the system. How these five elements behave within me will determine the quality of who I am. Based on this, the basic form of yoga is just Bhuta Shuddhi. Everything else is an outcrop of that, taught in various bits and pieces by many people without understanding the homogeneity of what it is. But essentially, it's about taking charge of the five elements. You practice Bhuta Shuddhi for a certain period of time and you achieve what is called as Bhuta Siddhi. That means you have total control over the five elements. To such an extent, there is any number of incidents where at the time of death or at the time of leaving their body, a yogi goes into a room, people lock it from outside, he goes in and after a few days they open and he's just not there because he dematerializes himself. He doesn't want to trouble you with a funeral, he doesn't want anybody to carry him to the grave, he just dematerializes his own system. 17 years ago,
Uh-oh. Gosh. And he says there's a lot of incidents. Like, what incident? Who disappeared? It's all just stories that whatever you hear, they're like supposedly happened like a few hundred years ago. But you never hear anything in recent years, right? Because we have now recorded history. But back then, mostly stories. Like, what is this guy? So now he's going all the way back to the ancient Hindu traditional medicine like Ayurveda, Siddha. So, and he's talking about the five elements. So that's not unique to the Indian culture or Hinduism. So the basic five elements, it's people believed that's how everything is made of. Water, it's space, fire, so air, all those five. So it's in Greek, Roman, and Chinese, and Indian culture, and even Egyptian culture, and also in Americas as well. So remember, so between 200, 300 years before the Common Era, Greek were trading with the South Indian people. So these culture could be exchanged, these beliefs, all those. I'm not here to argue about like who copied from another. It could emerge in both culture as well. So anyway, regardless, so he's saying like the yogi just disappear. Okay, so forget about all the previous yogi who disappeared. So now he's on record saying that yogi doesn't want anyone to cremate or bury him, right? So that's why he's gonna do that. Yeah, that's when it's gonna happen to him, right? He's saying on the record. So one day he will disappear. So he's not gonna die like a regular man, and we're not gonna bury him or cremate him, right? So he's gonna lock himself one day and disappear. He's on the record saying that. And do you believe that's gonna happen? How much you want to bet? Oh my gosh. Yeah, because these are the guy who can say these things, not worry about like it's going to happen, because they don't care. They say a lot of these things, and nothing going to happen. Then still people going to believe it, because they're not just saying one of these things. Like a lot of mumbo jumbo and crappy and superstitious, and you cannot keep count of it. So at the end, and you don't know what he actually said, but you're going to feel like, oh, he said he's really mystic. He knows a lot. That's all you're going to remember when he dies. You're never going to remember, oh, he said he's going to disappear and dematerialize. Where your cells, the atoms and molecules go. Like, boom, it's become a thought. There's nothing. Oh my gosh. How do you not laugh at this guy? how do you sit in IIT and listen to this guy saying this and not laughing at it? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's hear his story. And
I announced one program for the first time, 90-day program. Why 90 days is, approximately between 40 to 48 days, the system goes through a certain cycle on the elemental level. This is called a mandala. Every 40 to 48 days, there is a cycle where the system goes through this cycle. So this is the reason if you go to any Ayurvedic doctor or a Siddha Vaidya, he will always give you a medicine for 40 days or 48 days to make use of that cycle, natural cycle in the body. So I said 2 mandalas minimum, 3 would be good, but if I say 3, many things will happen. I said, minimum 2 mandalas, if you do sadhana, you can gain control over your system. Those who want to come, you come. And I left the town because I know a lot of drama will happen. Now in a family, husband wants to go for 90 days, wife will do Kathak. Wife wants to go for 90 days, husband acts like Rajinikanth in the house, angry man, walks up and down like a hero. So many things, drama will happen, so I don't want to be there. I said, those who want to come, you come, it's up to you. So after that I came back, to a particular family that I know well. It's a normal part of our hospitality. When somebody comes home, first thing is you bring water. So this lady in the house brought water for me, and she's like Kali suddenly, not just Kathak, she's like Kali. I looked at her, she's a nice lady, today she's in the Kali form. So I looked at her and she offered water to me and I said, Amma, I don't need this water, I don't need to drink this water. You are like Kali right now, I don't need Kali's prasadam right now, I'm fine. She said, why, will I poison it? I said, no, you don't have to poison it, it's already done. Then I told her, you take a sip from this glass. She took a sip from the glass.
oh my gosh. And he throws out some sexist joke that… Anyway, how does he know that she's in a Kali form? Somehow he communicated and get into her mind and figured out. Anyway, he got the grammar wrong. But that doesn't matter. Yeah, how will you… You already… will I poison it? You already poisoned. Oh gosh, anyway, so far, so the question was, you said there's a water has memory, and what's the viability of it? And he's saying, if you look at it this way, and the water will do something, and if you look at this way, and it will do something, and because it's scientifically proven, because the water is molecule is some rearranging itself. And to give a proof, and he's telling a story that he went to some place and now he looked at the lady and figured out the lady's in some form, then now he refusing to drink the water. Okay. Let's see how that water memory comes into play now.
Then I said, give me the glass to me. I held it in my hands for 2 minutes and I just gave it to her. You drink it now. She drank one sip and burst into tears and started crying. She said, it's sweet. I said, that's all the difference it is. Now your body is over 70% water. If the water in this system behaves in a sweet manner, will you be at least 70% sweet? If the air and earth behaves sweetly within you, will you be at least 90% sweet? Space is never bothering anybody, isn't it? So, the essential science of yoga is about bhuta shuddhi, taking charge of the elements within the system. Once you have control over the elements in the system, you can also influence the elements around you. essentially your whole work with life, your whole work in the world is just with the elements always, in a very basic form, isn't it? So
Oh my gosh, oh my goodness. So, and he looked at the woman and she's in some bad mental state, a collie state, and he refused to drink. Then he looked at the water and gave his thought, then gave back to her, and she drank it. Then all of a sudden it's tastes sweet. Just a plain water, fresh water. It tastes sweet. Where the sweet come from? The water. So, is this guy claim himself to be another version of a Jesus guy? Jesus turned water into wine. He turned water into sugar. Oh my God! Ah, so now he's a Jesus guy. Sweet Jesus. We can call him not a wine Jesus, sweet Jesus. Oh my, Sadhguru, sweet Jesus. Like, so, set aside the love part, but so for water to taste sugar, it doesn't come from the sweet taste doesn't come from the water. The sweet comes from the sugar or the sugar-like material added into the water. And where that comes from, like it's molecularly rearranges itself, then it turns into sugar. The sugar is a big molecule. Then there's a carbon. There's a lot of carbon in it. Where the carbon comes from? Sugar is made of carbon molecules. Like, where do you get that carbon, Jackie? In your thought, you think about sugar and then turn to sugar. Oh my gosh! How do you you're a chemist sitting there and you're listening to this guy and saying it is scientifically proven, it is scientific. I'm telling you, and you're hearing this, like, what kind of a chemist are you? Hearing this and from this guy, and I don't know what I'm not seeing it, but I don't know what was your reaction. I hope you at least thought this guy is just a bogus, fake guy. Even you didn't say it, but okay. Let's listen to his rest of his story.
if you have certain mastery over this, what you want, you don't even have to think about it. Your intention, you don't have to generate a thought. Just before you intend, that is how life will work out for you. So success is not an uphill task. If you raise this to a higher place, if you raise this to the highest place it can reach, then everything is downhill. Downhill you can run easily, or uphill you can run easily. Definitely downhill, isn't it? So is there any scientific evidence? There's substantial scientific evidence today about how the molecular structure of the water can be rearranged without changing the chemical structure, even with a simple thought or a touch. The problem is, your grandmother told you this, didn't she? Didn't your grandmothers tell you, you should not drink water from anybody's hands, do not take food from anybody, there is a certain way, you must receive only if they have good intentions for you? Did they tell you these things? But when your grandmother said it, the problem is if it goes from the east, it is superstition. If it comes from the west, it becomes science. That's where it is. That has to change. Your generation of people, that's your responsibility to change that. That even if it goes from the east, if it is science, it's science.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And people in IIT clapping. Like, who are those people who clapping in IIT? All janitors? Like, who are you people? Are you stupid? That's stupid to clap what he said. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the basic idea he's trying to say here, water memory, that's not even like the even the Indian idea or the old traditional Indian. It's recently the Western alternative medicine people trying to do in a homeopathic thing. So he copied that, probably he heard somewhere, and now he's saying, now he's exporting to the West. Oh my gosh. And now, always, he's saying that science is some kind of a belief system made up in a Western culture, especially during the colonial time, the last 500 years. So, let me get it straight. Science is not a Western thing, or colonial thing. It's not happened in the last 500 years. The queen of mother of all science is mathematics. That's where all the science comes from, and mathematics did not originate from colonial Europe. Okay, and mathematics have in all culture, all civilization, and Indian civilization gave the decimal system and zero. So the way the methodology is, systematic methodology we right now we're doing in science, that happened in the last 500 years. That's because after the last 2,000-3,000 years of people philosophy and knowledge and mathematics that gave this system. There was no this scientific systematic methodology before algebra. So the algebra was originated in the Arab system, the Arab civilization. So this idea that science was created or belongs to the idea only to European and during colonial times is just utter nonsense. Science belongs to everyone. It's like saying that there's one particular trading economical system that's effective, that's only came from that particular line. People has been trading all around the world in different civilizations past like 4, 5, 6, 7,000 years. So they may come up with a different type of currency, but the concept, idea of money is same in every culture. Sure. Maybe we later on printed like paper money, and now even go digital. So that changes over time as the technology and civilization march forward. So science definitely does not belong to the West. It's a humanity. It belongs to all humanity, all civilization, all culture. And he uses it to just disparage science, and he make up the so-called yogic science and what do you call mystic science, all this mumbo jumbo nonsense. There's no water memory, whatever he conjure up. Stop listening. And already I seen like it's not just the first time the IIT invited, like all other IITs invited this guy. And you really have no idea what this guy is and still invited him. What are you inviting him for? Yeah, he talks about other like some mental or social issues, like any philosopher or any important person in society can talk about it. Like I have a hard time. What I'm living for? What's my goal? Like anyone can. Your parents or someone lived long enough and experience the life and the society, culture, all this. They can come up with an answer. Even you can come up with some answer, because there's no right or wrong. But in science, it's about finding objective fact, and it's reality and truth. And he claims that he knows science, and his science is the real truth, and the other so-called Western science, that's fake. And he always uses those Western science terminology and jingoism to justifies his science. Oh my gosh. I don't know whether when I watch it, like, I don't know if I laugh at it or feel sad that IIT people listening to this guy and clapping. Oh my gosh. How do you clap? Are you that stupid? Like, oh, see, I don't know who the listening, probably not all IIT people. There are a lot of smart people and really hardworking people. But there are other people who get into IIT just memorizing it and scoring top-notch marks in school and getting there. And still they're doing the same thing up there, probably. But not all of the IIT people. There are really smart people up there. But it's very sad. Yeah, like, this is happening in all IIT and all over India. Oh my gosh. Jaggi, just leave science to scientists. If you want to go and talk about feel-good, self-help, all the mumbo-jumbo, save humanity, save love, save everything, like, go for it. And people are going to give you money. You can buy all the BMW or different type of European motorcycles and ride around. Well, okay, all right, and enjoy your life. If you are not, there's going to be someone else to get the money from those people. They're going to give it to him. So if it's not you, it's going to be someone else. Even after a year, there's going to be someone else. That's a world, because otherwise everyone would be scientists, right? Anyway, stop watching this guy. Stop. Just stop. Learn science. Science is cool. All right, adios. See you next.